y'all. What camera's mine, y'all? That one right there, right? Is that right? Looks like it, doesn't it? We're trying to play musical chairs today, and musical being the key word because we're going to talk music up in Ducktown, Tennessee, in a place that y'all are so happy that is being revitalized, saved, made into something pretty massive and awesome. And guys, tell me what's going on. What happened in the last year?
Well, in 2023, we had the Kimsey Ridge Gospel Sing. It's really based off of the Singing in the Mountains that Eric Chastain and some of the guys done in Blue Ridge.
Right.
So we got that together out at Kimsey Ridge last year, and it was a huge success. We had probably,
so glad.
I know we had over 500 there,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
closer to 600
Yeah.
for the first year, and we're expecting great things this year. We're really excited about it.
It is exciting.
Yeah,
it is.
and the spirit was so free.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
yeah.
just like it was like a church service.
Yeah,
It really
yeah,
was.
yeah.
But we had such a good time.
Well, I love the idea that you stepped off of a ladder and about fell in a hole when you decided to take on this project.
Yeah.
You talk about gutsy. Now, give folks a little history because some people may be watching today who've never
Right.
seen this.
Well, gutsy or crazy.
Yeah, I think a little crazy going on too. Yeah.
Somebody said, I heard you was crazy, and I said, have you seen what I bought?
Yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, it's, I may have told you last time, I literally woke up with it on me one day that I
Yeah.
was going to buy this school.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't
And
go
tell
away.
people the history of the school because my real estate broker actually went to school there. I'm guessing her age maybe in the 50s. She's in the 50s. But she went to school there, and she was so excited when I told her what y'all are doing with it because it's a piece of history of Ducktown, Tennessee.
It really is. Well, see, it was originally, the theory was that people would leave high school and they would get a couple of free years of college. They would go over to the college, get some training, and then go straight to work at our company that we had,
Right.
you know, all kinds of fields to work in.
Sure.
And it just never came to fruition. So what they did, it was a high school for many years. And then it wound up, I think, in about 76-ish. And, you know,
Yeah.
don't slaughter me if I got the year a little
Right.
off, but
Right.
it changed to an elementary school. I started elementary school there in 85. Y'all don't do that math.
Yeah.
85.
Yeah.
And went all the way through 7th grade.
So it really had a piece of your heart years ago.
Really did.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere that I go through there, there's some kind of memory. And, I mean, you spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
I liked it so much, I went twice in 2nd grade.
Oh yeah, I bet you did. yeah, and your teacher was going, pay attention, pay attention.
Yeah, so it was, but we'll have people, you know, we have a spring festival and a fall festival. And people will come, I was telling Rick on the way up here, and sit all day long and just,
Yeah.
because it's like a big reunion.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm trying to do a lot of things in the school to, you know, to fulfill that. I got a lucky break and got some pictures of 2 basketball teams from like in the 40s, and
Oh,
one
how
of them
cool
is
is
taken in front of the school.
Wow.
And I've got them hanging up in front of the gymnasium. So and people's coming. They've picked people out,
That's
so there's
my
name
daddy,
tags.
that's my granny, that's, yeah.
So and that gives conversation pieces. So instead of, as we decorate the halls and stuff, I had this idea to do all things from around here. We get pictures from everywhere, but it's hard to beat what we have around here. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying
yeah,
to do is
yeah.
get local stuff and have pictures.
That
I
is
mean,
so
it's
cool.
conversation pieces, you know.
Well, on the way up here, I was thinking about the community that you're in. I made a huge real estate mistake about 8, 9, 10 years ago. I had a place not very far from there listed. Now, this price is going to sound like I'm a lying, and I'm not. 9 acres and a very, very livable double-wide mobile home. We sold it for $44,900. Do you know what it would bring today? About $244,900.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of those things because people would go and view it and say, but it's so far out here. Well, no, it's not. No, it really wasn't. It was like 8 miles from town. 8
Right.
miles. 8 miles. But people would, oh, it's so far. Well, now, after COVID, people are looking to go afar and to get
Exactly.
away,
Yeah.
you know. So it's so weird because when I listed it and was selling it, I went up there probably 10, 12, 15 times because I was cleaning it out. The gentleman had passed away and his wife wanted it cleaned
Right,
out.
yeah.
So I donated all the stuff to a church, and I said, y'all come and get anything you want, have a yard sale, have an estate sale, keep the money. And every time I'd go, I would fall in love with the area more. So the more I went, the closer it seemed, you know. And I kept
Exactly, that's
saying,
what it
if
does.
people would buy up here, they'd realize that it's not really out in the boonies. It's just a few miles to stuff.
Yeah.
But it is a few
I
miles.
deal with that all the time. They say,
Yeah.
well, it's so far out.
Yeah.
Literally, a 10-second story. I was talking to somebody about a restaurant, and they said it's so far out, and I said it's 3 miles from 3
Yes,
miles
3
from
miles.
where we're standing right here. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't get where
you get
people-
labeled as that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's weird. But the area around the school, do y'all see it changing now? Are you out about it enough
it
to
is.
see? Yeah.
But I mean, in a lot of the leadership in Ducktown is kind of in the same way. We're trying to keep the small town atmosphere and handle growth at the same time.
Right.
And that's what I'm building everything on is, you know your neighbors. You can feel safe if you want to go for a jog or walk through the trails or something like
Right.
that. And that's huge
Yeah.
still.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
I love the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and other people do too. And
Yeah.
it's
Now, what about during the time that you're not doing events? If people, say, went to school there years and years ago and were traveling and were in town, would you let them come in and see the building?
They do. I prefer what we did to try to solve this issue is we did the two things. We did the Facebook. It's Friends of Kimsey Junior College, and it's on Facebook. You can immediately get in touch with us there, and then we put a phone number up because it did get to the point to where, especially on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes, I can
And we
imagine.
live there now,
Yes,
so
yes.
it got to the point to where you would be, going to change clothes, and there would be people standing in your hallway. Hey guys, got popcorn,
That's funny.
So we've tried to get a handle on that because we usually try to accommodate,
Yeah.
but you don't want to disturb my wife's nap time
Yeah,
on Sunday. You
yeah.
get me in trouble.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But so what we ask that people do is just call the number, or they
Schedule
can
something.
they can schedule it. That's the best way to do it. A lot of we've got over a couple thousand followers since we put this page up, and we do anything that updates we do. We try to do videos and stuff. So that's the easy way you can get in touch
Right.
with us instantly.
Yeah,
and
that's
people
cool.
started to work. So
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of where we went.
And
with
that's
it.
what you need. And again, because you're doing it in memory of your happy years there. And there are
Right.
other people who have memories of their happy years there. So you don't want to
Exactly.
not share it with them.
You've
But
got
at
to
the same
figure out a way
time-
to balance it.
Yeah, I can see Honey Baby walking through the hall with her gown and her rollers in her hair, and she's going, "Not now, people,
Yeah.
not now, yeah, not now, not now." Now, what groups are going to be there this year?
Well, also, we're going to have the Kaler family. You know,
Love 'em,
everybody
love
loves the
'em.
Kaler
Yes,
family.
love the
Yes,
Kalers.
yes.
And we're going to have first day music. They're from down around Jasper, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You might be familiar with them. And the new group we're going to have this year is the Andy Wire family with Ron Jones.
Okay.
And they're kind of it's just a brother and sister and their daughter and the wife and the husband plays. You know, and they came to our church and sung during our Jubilee at the church, and they done really well. So I believe everybody's going to really enjoy them. Of course, we're going to have some good choir singing. Our choir consisted of probably around 60 or maybe so last year, and it was just awesome. And we're going to have maybe a couple soloists in between. Try to keep it around a couple hours, somewhere in that neighborhood.
We found one time we went somewhere and they had 5 groups, and by the time you get through the 3rd group, people are,
Getting fidgety.
Yeah.
and they're, even though the last 2 groups, they usually keep the best for last.
Right.
And so it makes people, because they're tired, they're looking at their clock, They're thinking I got a meatloaf in the oven,
Yeah.
and they get
Yeah.
kind of wild on you. So yeah, I think 3 groups and a
I,
couple.
I was telling Jason on the way
Smell
down
off.
here, I think last year our singing lasted about a couple hours. And I'm real confident in saying that I think that we ended with people wanting more.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That's
when
awesome.
you end something with people wanting more,
Sure.
that might be a good sign, you know.
Well, I think now you just gave me the best line, because wanting more. Now, I have a dear friend in Jasper, and I have a picture of her at the Dairy Queen yesterday. It was her birthday, and the family said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she said, "More, more, more. I want to go to the Dairy Queen and have a Cherie Martin Blizzard." And I said, that is the sweetest thing, because the Galloway family is like, you know, if you can choose a family, you got Miss America and you got Miss Teen USA. Well, we got the Galloways in Jasper, and they are just the sweetest family. And there they are, as they were celebrating Miss Deb's birthday with a Cherie Martin Blizzard, because that's what she wanted for her birthday. So happy, happy birthday. You know, you see that couple that you know was meant to be together. You see that
Yeah.
couple that you know that God had a perfect plan. That's the couple, and that's the family.
Yeah.
So precious, precious, precious people. And they build a lot of churches. So just wonderful, wonderful
Oh,
folks.
that's great.
But happy, happy birthday, young lady. You know, when we look at the economy, last year was a pretty rough year for a lot of people. A pretty rough year for a lot of people. Even concession stands. Are you doing concession stands?
On some events, we haven't decided about this
Okay.
yet. So
Okay. Well, we did an event Saturday night in Ball Ground, and I made peach cobbler, and I made 3 big peach cobblers, and all of it sold. Very, very thankful for it. But the ladies of the church made cakes and brought cakes, and we just did cake and coffee. So if you could do something like that, people are going to eat. And if you feed them, they seem to stay longer, because they can't sit there and say, "Well, Lord, I'm starved to death." You can say, "No, go have you another piece of that pound cake." So
they won't be thinking about that chicken leg
no,
they've got at home.
no. So you know, sometimes if you have a little intermission, and that's what we found. We sold a lot of food before the event,
Right.
and then at intermission we sold a lot of food, and the line was kind of out the door, which was really cool,
Yeah,
because
that's great.
it gives them a break, gives them time to talk to their friends, you know, and feed them. So feed them, you know. That's one of those things. Southern women like to cook, and Southern men like to eat,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it just works amazingly well together.
It's like
So-
a match made in heaven,
yeah,
isn't
it is. It is. Now we've got some photos that we're going to share, and we're going to run through them pretty quickly, because you've got a lot of photos and some really, really cool stuff. So you may see yourself in these if you were at the event last year. So here we go.
They're not loaded yet.
They're not. They're still loading. Okay, there's a lot
Just
of
kidding.
them. So yeah,
We're
we're just
just kidding.
kidding. We're just kidding. We're just kidding. Well, let's talk about something serious, guys. I know in Ducktown, in Turtletown, in McKaysville, in Jasper, in Ball Ground, everywhere we go, there's a drug problem. There's a drug problem.
Yeah.
And this morning, I was looking at some things that are happening. A young man lost his life a couple of weeks ago. Fentanyl was involved. 107,000 people have lost their lives to fentanyl. We have this open border policy now, and we're letting all these crazies into our world, and it's people from everywhere, and we're not checking on them, not seeing who they are. Did you see what happened in New York City to the 2 policemen that were beaten?
No, what happened?
A gang of people who had crossed the border and illegals who were placed in New York City in a hotel room that's $400 a night, and they get each one of them a hotel room, put 2 to the room, $400 a night out of your government money and your government money and my government money. And at the same time, these are the same people that are members of gangs that are bringing drugs into our country.
Yeah, it's awful.
In your community, are you seeing people still battling addiction?
It is, and there's some outreach programs. I am thankful to see. I've seen a few stories on the uphill side.
Right, me too.
And
me
that's
too.
what a blessing. You know,
Me
I don't
too.
know. I'm one of those stories
Yeah.
from when I was a teenager.
Right.
But you don't. There was a long time you didn't hear of a lot of recovery.
Yeah,
You didn't hear a
right.
lot of people changing their lives.
Right.
And you know, I'm seeing both sides of it, but we need more education.
Right.
We need our churches to come together instead
Right.
of everybody in their own clubs.
Right.
We need unity, and we need to get behind these. These young people are, whether we like it or not, they're our future. They're going to
Exactly.
be sitting where we're sitting.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Well, we're going to share some pictures, and I'm gonna put you on thin ice because I'm going to ask you to do something to study about it. So here we go. Here's some pictures. Okay, now that's the choir.
Yep.
Yay! Boy, what a great group. And isn't that amazing that school sat there
I
all
know
those
it.
years, and look at that.
well, it didn't really look like that when I got it.
No.
I heard it didn't. Yeah, I
Jason
heard
done
it.
an awesome job.
That
There's
is
a ventilation
awesome.
system
Yay.
in the ceiling.
I know
you
those people.
Who might have left that picture out?
I know those people.
He put that in there on purpose.
Yeah, I know that. Is
There's
that Lisa?
a picture of the auditorium. That looks awesome.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. How cool is that? How cool is that?
I listened to that last night because me and him had talked about it on the Facebook, and man, I got all worked up
Yeah,
just listening to
yeah.
it. The spirit was
That's
so
our
good.
MC, Jody Nichols is our MC of the night.
There's
Raven Welch. You know Raven.
I recognize her. Yeah. And I recognize my sweet Lisa Kaler. Yeah.
There's Randy Hooper.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my
First day
gosh.
was great. I had never heard of them, and I met them before,
Uh-huh.
and man, some good testimonies, and they really set the stage when they got up and sang.
they
They
did.
Boy, that is so
did a
cool.
great job.
That is so cool. And honestly, you can be having the cruddiest, worst day.
Exactly.
And somebody can just put a song out there, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, everything changes. Yeah.
It's
That is
like
awesome.
magic,
I see
the way
sweet
that-
A.C. Kaler.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, that's the sweetest.
Ryan Norton's leading the choir.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We had that
we
Andy
did,
Wire playing upright bass.
That is so cool. That is so, and there's
This Lisa.
Lisa. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And I know who that is.
Yeah.
That's Missy. Yay. Wow. And that's
That's
the
Gracie. That's
yes,
Gracie.
That is Gracie is all grown. That is
And
crazy, y'all.
Gracie fought cancer, for a
Yes,
while.
I know.
She's doing really
Yeah,
well now.
Yeah. Hey, I can remember when she was a little bitty girl standing up there singing. That is crazy, y'all.
There's the man of the hour.
There he is. He is truly that. What a good, good guy. Wow. That is just amazing.
We had such a good time. I was telling Jason on the way down here, if we can just get it where it was last year,
Yes.
it's
yes.
going to be awesome, but we're expecting better things.
Now, how many people will the auditorium seat?
I'm hoping that we can get close to 800.
Okay.
Hopefully, because we're having Mac Powell there May the 31st, and it will probably sell out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it will be great. You know, I was talking on the way up here, when we had the first choir practice, I think Bethel Church, we did the first practice over at their church, and I knew that day, after we sung about 2 songs, that this was going to be something special. I mean, I don't know if you felt that way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the atmosphere, we was testifying and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
what God had done for us
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
going into it, and man,
I have a friend up in your area who has been clean and drug-free for over 10 years now. And every time she posts something, it just gives me cold chill bumps because she came so far from where she
Yeah.
was.
it's amazing what
And
the Lord can
and
do.
what she did to help other people. And I said, that's the key to this. If you accomplish something, and so this is what I wanted to ask you. I met some gentlemen from Mississippi who run a program that is, if you can't afford to get drug help and you can't afford to be put somewhere and you can't afford all these things, these guys have kind of like what you do. They have an old building that they've redone, and they have a woodworking shop there. And they teach the guys, and they make craft items, and they make home use items, little shelves and signs and things like that. And then they have to go around as they're about to graduate the program. They take them to certain communities, and they put them in that community and say, you have 2 days to sell X amount of your products. And they go door to door and to businesses and sell the signs they made
Oh,
or the
yeah.
different things. And it was really cool to meet these guys because they were so diversified. And they all told me their story of how they got where they were on drugs and how they accomplished what they did in the program. And I thought, you know, you've got a lot of space there. You might
Definitely.
think about doing something to
Well,
help.
we've already been talking about something similar to
That would be so cool.
That would be great, because I'm trying to get a construction area and stuff like that, so I can work with the local schools to maybe teach a carpentry class. and
Look how
stuff
big
like
that is.
Yeah.
Look how good that looks.
I know it.
That
It's
is
awesome.
amazing. That is crazy.
That's a good picture right there of everything.
Now, if
he's
I
done.
remember it
And
right, was
Jason
the
done
ceiling
about
falling in when you got it?
It was.
Yes, I thought it was.
That's why I
yeah.
said we had a little air conditioning ventilation
Yeah.
on the top.
Yeah, that ceiling's not falling in now.
And he done 90% of the work
Most all of
yourself.
it myself.
Yeah.
I didn't
Sure did.
hang the extra sheetrock that we had to patch in, but
That is so cool.
all those chairs, they all have 4 holes drilled into the concrete per chair,
Yes, and you did it.
and it was no fun.
Yeah, yeah. That is so amazing. Now, have there been days that you really thought, why am I doing this? Or are you now just so excited you understand why you're doing it?
I've had some rough days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
When we was doing the roof and some other stuff, we already had the new sheetrock up, and it came a storm, and I had something built because it came out of nowhere to keep water from coming in, and it broke loose. And the guy helping me come in there and said, "Jason, it's pouring. It's pouring."
Oh, gosh.
And I walked in, and it was coming out of the light sockets.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it was, when I say, you can't picture what we seen. It filled the balcony so fast, and I run as fast as I could. He got the shop vac and started, and I run upstairs onto the roof and was pushing it with a push broom, trying to get it off because it was getting heavier and heavier, and it couldn't drain. And I remember it was lightning. Seemed like it was just right outside of sight from me. And I prayed and prayed because I thought, Lord, if you'll just protect me, dear, because
Yeah,
it
you
was
could
a
have been
scary.
struck by lightning, yeah.
And I worked. I got in the ceiling and worked. Finally, by the time I got down there, it was almost midnight. I worked from midnight until 6:45 the next morning, as hard as I could go. I fell trying to get out of there and stuff, to hurry and dump the water. And I mean, there's not one brown spot on the ceiling. Because I'd suck all the water out, take the insulation out, and dump it, do it, keep on. And then I had a fan going on it so it wouldn't soak down into the sheetrock. And I went home and just collapsed. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been a few incidents that it's been almost more than I can handle. But the stuff that we did, the White Christmas, we started doing that for the elementary school. They bring them over on buses, and they feel like superstars.
Oh, wow.
So this year, at the end of every class that would sing, I got a snow machine, and they didn't know it.
Yeah.
So at the end of their thing, I'd hit it, and they just cheer. It's stuff like that
Yeah.
it sounds silly, but that's
It's
kind of
worth
stuff
it.
that really
Yeah.
Gives you a boost,
it
don't
does.
it?
Yeah,
It gives you
yeah,
that extra
yeah,
boost.
Now, what if somebody wants to help you financially? Are you in a position that, is it a 501c?
We've worked so hard on that to get recognized, and we finally got it under a blanket policy so that now if you make a donation to the school, that it is tax deductible.
Okay.
And that took a lot of doing. but
And
we're
that's
there.
important because there's somebody sitting out there who's saying, I really want to do well in my community, and
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the Lord uses, just the way He uses me and uses you, He brings things together. I'm not a wealthy person. I have my own business and stuff like that, and I get by, but I'll be completely honest. And I told somebody this last week. I have run out of money all the way down to the last $20 3 times.
That's
during
crazy.
this. And then I'll think, well, that's almost where I'm at now. And I told my wife, I said, this has happened before. And I'll think, all right, Lord, you brought me here.
Yeah.
What am I? And somebody will show up. Or maybe it's not that they give me money. I've not been that blessed so much, but a couple times. But they'll be needing a piece of property. They'll be needing something that I have and it just works out to the
Yeah.
point where it's
Yep.
it's magical the way
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
Lord will put 2 people together and make something huge
Yeah,
happen.
it's crazy.
It is great.
It is crazy. see it every single day, and you're like, really? Okay, that's gonna work. All right, we'll make this work. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think if anybody would go out there and see the work that Jason's done, it would inspire them to help.
Right.
It really
Right.
would.
And even if they're a contractor and have material left over from jobs that
Right.
you might could use, you know.
Yeah.
Things
It
like that
doesn't
are a
have to
huge
be just a
blessing.
money
No,
donation.
you're
It can
right.
be material too. So,
You're right.
yeah. Now, what about the lunchroom? What has happened? Is it still sitting there just like it was?
Okay, so we have not the part that you cook in, but the lunchroom itself and the overflow room. We this past year redid both of those. Fixed a lot of water damage. I was able to save a mural and stuff that was painted when I was there.
Oh my gosh.
It was coming off, so we flaked what we had to and then sealed the rest of it on. But we have a local church that has rented those 2 rooms, and
That
they're
is
starting to have
cool.
services there.
See, there you go. There's a little income coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and that's
Yeah.
something else that just kind of we got hooked together at the right time.
What
we're-
if somebody wanted to do a seminar there or something like that? Can they lease the building for the day?
They can. They
Okay,
can.
tell
And
me about that.
They can contact me. The best way to get into, like I said before, is Friends of Kimsey Junior College on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and you can follow and see. If you go back far enough, you can see the before pictures
Mm-hmm.
and the after each room we do. And that's kind of where I'm wanting to go, is to be able to use it for a convention center and
Right.
community events.
Right.
So they would just contact through the messenger, or
Uh-huh.
there's a number on there they could call, and we get back pretty quick.
Yeah.
I love doing stuff like that, especially if we can accommodate it.
Now, heating and air in that beautiful auditorium?
Heating and air in the auditorium.
Yay! How
Yeah.
cool is that? And you know how many times we've been
It
somewhere
took a
with
long
fan
time
and-
to be able to
a
say
fan
that.
and sweat.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
is
that's
so cool.
that in itself is huge to me.
That is huge. That
But
is
we do
huge.
have heat and air in there.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Now, on this flash drive that y'all brought, is there any music on there that we can share?
I don't know.
No,
that it's
on
here.
that
Okay.
there's not any
Okay,
music.
okay.
No.
Because we all know the Kaylors and we love them and we
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
they do. So, but right now we're going to share some music with y'all, and I don't know if Tracy's got this. Trace, can we do the Mountain Life? Can we share that? Is that cool?
I don't have that right now.
You don't?
No.
Oh no!
don't.
So what are we going to share?
We'll do I've Been Wrong Before.
I've been wrong before. Boy, this is my theme song. Here we go.
The bank says it's foreclosing and the pickup needs repair. The LP tank's on 0 and my wheel is almost there. The hope I had left with you when you walked out the door, I would say things can't get worse, but I've been wrong before. The postman brought a letter. He said he needs my signature. He don't know you had to go, and the way you left me here. I told him I don't love you, oh, but the Lord knows I still do. And he knows just what I feel inside and the things I'm going through. My brother said there's a bottle that'll make this go away. I could drink until it's over, or until my dying day. I could do all this and tell myself I left a message on my phone. I called in to talk to him to see what's going on. They're laying off across the plant, employees by the score. I would say things can't get worse, but I've been wrong before. And I could turn to the bottle and make this go away. I could drink until it's over, or until my dying day. I could do these things and tell myself I don't care anymore. And I could hope it don't get worse again, but I've been wrong before. The country's going straight to hell on a highway paved with hope. And if we keep playing around with this, we'll hang by our own rope.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
You know, how you feel on the inside is just as important to me as how you feel on the outside.
Oh, Daddy. I'm grown up, in every way, care and take care of you. You're my grown up, and I know you're there. I'm your grown up, and you know I care. 'Cause it's you and me and me and you. So when you are okay or not okay, I'll take care of you.
Misty mountain, rainbow sky, a faraway look in your eye. Tell me, have you had enough? Traffic jams and city stuff. Don't you think it's time to go where black bears climb and waters flow? Hummingbirds out on the deck, propped up, and what the heck?
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go away from music and we're going to talk about the world today. The world today, and I wish I could remember this exact quote, but it said, an addiction is like giving up everything you love for the one thing that you really hate, but you do it anyway. And you are teaching classes on addiction.
Well,
Tell me a little bit about
I do teach
that.
classes on it. Probably not as much as I should.
Tell me about that.
Well, I experienced addiction years, almost 20 years ago. And it was Lord seeing fit to help bring me out of that. He didn't do it all. He made me work for it. But I've learned so much about it. And then I continued learning after. I got certified to teach classes and to facilitate, and I've done several things like that. And it's a great thing. That, I mean, we need God to get through stuff because He gives us our help, but He does expect us to do some legwork, unfortunately. We need to be educated to see why it is we do these things and how it works. It's a lot easier to do something if you understand, if I'm going to fix a car, I first need to understand how that car works. And if I'm going to overcome anything, I need to first understand how anything works.
Yeah.
And it gives you a leg up in doing that. And that's I encourage people that all the time. Yes, we can come through it, and the Lord helps us. He does. I don't see that you can do it without Him.
Right.
But He expects us to put forth the effort,
Right.
learn ourselves, learn how it controls us. And
I'm trying to think of the line that Mr. Ellijay always says this. He said, "Oh yeah," he said, "God's right there for you. He's going to hand you the shovel. He's not going to do the work for you."
Exactly.
He said He's going to give you the opportunity, and whether you take that opportunity or not is up to you.
No, you're
and,
right.
and we see that every single day. You know, you can sit there and wallow in your self-pity. You can do whatever. And I don't know if you remember that my daughter committed suicide, but when she committed suicide, she was down to a level of you can't go any lower than she was. She was down to a size 2. She was involved with a man who would kick her and tell her that you're lucky you've got me because you're fat. She was a size 2. Size 2. You know how big a size 2 is?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And she could never be enough to please somebody else, but it came from a history of things that happened in her life. And yesterday, it's so weird that y'all are here today because I found a book I'd started writing. And when Angela died, I just closed it up and quit because I thought, how do I go from where we were to my daughter blowing her brains out? I couldn't do it. I just closed it up. And everybody kept saying, you need to finish this, you need to encourage people. I don't know how to do that. Because I knew that she was dealing with a lot of problems. I knew that she had weight loss surgery because after all, if the man you love tells you you're fat, then you're going to change that to please him, right? Isn't that how women work? Yeah.
We all are
if he tells
guilty
you
in one way
every
or
day
another.
that you're fat and you need to, you're going to do whatever it takes. And so she did, and she got down to a size 2. Her hair was falling out, her teeth were falling out because she had no nutrients, because she had to be skinny, because after all, then he wouldn't call her fat. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I kept watching this, and I knew that she was sinking, but I didn't know how far she sunk. And then her house was foreclosed on because she got involved with a mortgage, what do they call him? He was a mortgage facilitator to redo her loan. And basically he had lied to her, and every month he was taking the money, and instead of giving it to BB&T, her banker, he was putting it in his own bank account. And to add insult to injury, 5 days after she died, he took another payment out of her checking account. She's dead, and he took another payment out of her checking account. And I'm like, so we never know why people turn to drugs, why they turn to alcohol. We don't know, but there's a story. And then you see the perfect family. And then all of a sudden there's an addict. We don't know. We don't know. Did you grow up in a perfect family?
I grew up in a good family. I mean, I was in church 9 months before I was born. Up until I was about a teenager, we went to church, and I mean, every family's got problems, but I had a good upbringing. I knew right from wrong. I was always spastic because I'm hyperactive, but sometimes some people are more prone to addiction than others, and people, you can agree with it or not, but it is what it is. If you are, let's say, attention deficit, long story short, just to cut through everything, you're 60% more likely to be hooked on methamphetamines, because the same medicine that they use to treat that is basically, you know, way hyped up, the same, but you get this just for recreational stuff, kids partying and drinking and doing this stuff, but then when there comes a time, we don't ever want to lose hope. So if we're really down and out or something like that, we may do it once to make us feel better, and without even knowing it, hey, that actually worked. We got that release of dopamine that give us that extra, and nobody ever wants to use talking about bad things that happen. Cherie, we can live 4 days without any water. We can live 4 minutes without our brain, without oxygen, without our brain starting to shut down. But you can't make it 4 seconds without hope.
Yeah.
And when we start to lose hope, we'll start grasping at other things first to try to make us feel better. And unfortunately, that creates new paths in our brain, and it makes us start to do these things again. You got a reward center. If not, we would starve to death. You eat a big piece of chocolate cake, you get a reward.
Right.
You know, hey, that's good. We like that. We'll do it again. And before long, it becomes subconscious. You start doing stuff.
The young man that died a couple of weeks ago had gone through treatment, had done so well. Just bought a new home, gotten married. Life was so good. And he hit that weak moment. And fentanyl killed him.
You see it all the time.
And
It's
you're
awful.
like, oh my God, he had it together. He had it all going. And it was amazing, you know. And I had to fight with the GBI after my daughter died because they didn't want to do a toxicology report. And I said, I want to know what was in my daughter's system the day that she took her own life. I want to know, because I'd been on the phone with her. And you'll laugh, I'm not a technical person, and I'm so basic. Y'all are lucky you can see anything with me on Facebook, because I just don't technical. I'm lucky I can use a cell phone. She was teaching me to copy and paste something that night. She said, Mama, just hit copy and paste. I said, copy and paste what? And it was about a job application, and I was doing a resume, and she said, Mama, and she got a little bit aggravated with me. She said, you've got to learn this stuff. I said, Angela, you have always done all this for me. You've been my secretary. You've been my right arm. You've been my everything. I said, why would I want to learn this stuff? Well, within 9 hours, she was dead. Yeah. And I'm like, holy cow, because I depended on her for so much. She was my go-to for everything. And then she was gone.
Right.
And when she talked to me at 10 after 6 that night, she didn't know what was going to happen. She didn't know that she was going to drink 3 beers and get mad and take a pill that a doctor prescribed that says may cause suicidal thoughts. She was drinking, she had no food in her stomach, and she took that pill, and then she took her life. And I said, you know, I have a problem with prescription drugs. I went through major surgery last year, and I didn't take anything. And the doctors were like, you won't heal if you don't take care of this pain. And I said, I'm taking care of it. I'm just sitting still and being good.
Right.
And so finally I started taking Advil. You know, after major surgery, 8 hours of surgery, I'm taking Advil. But I'm so afraid of addiction because I have seen people who a doctor gave you a prescription, and then the next thing you know, you're hooked on something. And that was like my daughter. She had cancer, was battling cancer, and so they gave her an antidepressant. And the antidepressant said may cause thoughts of suicide.
Right.
Okay. So what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
And you look at it and you're like, you know, my daughter Dawn was an addict for 17 years, and Dawn read a poem on here. She and Judge Harry Doss did a program, and it's called My Name is Crystal Meth. Have you ever heard the poem?
I have.
Okay. That poem says it all. One hit, and the rest of your life you're looking for that great feeling that you had one time. And it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back, you know.
So you look at it like there's a line that's drawn, and you take this, and you're right here on the line, just like a heartbeat line. You go way up here when you take it. Well, when you come down, you don't stop at that line, you go a little below it. And then you take it and you go just a little above the line. And before you know it, you're taking it just to get to that normal mark that you started out on
Right.
feeling normal before.
Right.
This is
It
how
is.
this takes a hold of us, you know.
Have you seen friends lose their life because of drugs?
Oh, goodness. We'd
Over
need
and
2
over.
shows to tell you
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
the horror stories.
The
for that.
summer of the bad drugs in Jasper, my daughter buried 11 friends. 11 friends. Now, she was sitting there with these people doing the same exact drug. You think God isn't real? People all the time will say, how do you know God is real? I haven't seen God. How do you tell me how you know God is real? My daughter Dawn is a perfect example of God is real because 11 of her friends were in caskets and she wasn't. God kept giving her another chance, kept giving her another chance. Now she does Bible study with other ladies who needed help. God is real. You know, it doesn't get any realer than that.
Most of the people I used to run with are gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
but the Lord's done things that's like we was talking about this singing. It's amazing how God can take you from nothing to put more in your hands than you ever thought you'd even be
Yeah.
able to be a part of, much less own or be.
Can you imagine you as a drug addict ever dreaming that you could facilitate something that will change so many lives? Because that school is changing lives and it's bringing hope and it's bringing encouragement and it's, I mean, you got to feel like, wow, yeah, God loves me. God loves me. Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing in life I know for sure.
Yeah.
What was that old song, Jesus and Mama Always Loved Me? That might be my theme song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the Lord shows up with the singing. Somebody was telling me at the bank the other day, it's still talked about today. The spirit that was in the room, there was people praising the Lord, standing up, shouting, and I was just in awe. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off because there's so many things to try to take care of. But
Tell her what your dad said about that.
my dad was saying that there was somebody behind him that prayed the entire thing and praised the Lord. I mean,
I'm
when the
getting cold
first song
chills just-
started, but in
Wow.
just to take a minute, like was trying to get my head together because I had to sing. You know, he gave me a part to sing in one of the songs, and I said, now I'm going to just stop for a minute and watch this song because it was the song before, and I was in tears.
Yeah.
By the time she got done with the song, I was so wrapped up in that I mean, you could cut it with a knife in there.
Yeah, that's
Of course, I hope I didn't ruin it when I got it sung.
When he sung his verse of that song, that was one of the highlights of the whole singing. It was.
What's the song you sang?
What was it? "'Tis So Sweet." I just sung one of
"'Tis So Sweet to
verses
Trust
in
in
it.
Jesus."
Yeah.
He done the
Wow.
last verse of it.
Wow.
It's a good song anyway,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We just done a lot of just Red Book hymnal songs, but we.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
we ought to be singing in churches every Sunday.
Well-
yeah.
And you could look out in the audience and people would be singing with you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know and praising the Lord and
Yeah,
everything, and
yeah.
it was just a fantastic night. It was.
Wow, it's exciting. I'm so glad because you really went out on a limb and y'all putting this together. We knew Singing in the Mountains had been a success, but in
Yeah.
the last few years, it wasn't as successful, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was because the nights that it happened, something else was going on, but different times I noticed that the volume of people had dropped because I'd been there when it was absolutely packed, and then I'd been there when it wasn't packed.
Yeah.
But it's so cool that you started out.
it's a great thing. I had that on me for almost a year, but the Lord, which is out of the ordinary because it seems like I'll get something and the Lord will say, all right, you go.
Yeah, and
But I
you're going,
never could get
"What?"
that click to, okay, go with it. So I felt like that I needed somebody else. And I had mentioned to Rick that I had kicked that idea around. I had even called Eric and some of them the summer before about getting some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking in conversation to Rick because he'd asked me, he said, I'd like to help. And I said, well, I kind of kicked this around. And he came back to me like the next day and said,
Do it.
I've been thinking about that. I'd like to do that. And I just,
There
told
you
him to
go.
run with it. However, and man,
That's
It
awesome.
takes everybody working together,
does.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, not just
Oh, yeah.
one person.
Yeah, yeah.
And Eric Chastain has been so instrumental
Yeah.
because he
And
done.
having Ryan Norton there.
Yeah, and
that's
Ryan
awesome,
and Eric, and they was all there, and Eric's dad, Billy Wayne Chastain. the people that was part of Singing in the Mountains.
Yeah.
And when they come in and really give you their input and what we should do, and Eric's just been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he called me
Well,
and
you
said,
know, it's so weird because when you know that at ETC we keep all the programs and we re-air and re-air and re-air, and my granddaughter laughs about it because she was drum major 15, 18 years ago, and they still show some stuff where she's drum major, and she's like, been in Alaska 10 years, so it's so funny. But we love that because I've watched programs here where Evening of Promise, when Eric was on here with Patrick and Billy Wayne came, and they were over here singing, and I thought, man, that music, that sound. So that's the great thing about ETC. We don't lose any of that. We have archives and archives and archives of these guys in our community, these people who made a difference, these people who stepped up and said, hey, we're going to do this for the community, and that's what it was about.
And your community loves it. That's one thing. I may need to stop by the office and shake them up and say, you know, your community needs you. Come on down. But back to your having all that on file, I have watched several. The Singing in the Mountains thing, I know that Benny and Rick and TC had sung one year on there, and I watched them. And this is your town. That's why we love the small town atmosphere. You're like, I know that guy, and it's more of a blessing, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do one more song of Mr. Ellijay as we go off the air today, but we want to show a few more pictures. Trace, we got some pictures we didn't show? Got a few? Okay. We're going to share this with y'all, and honestly, y'all, if you didn't know the disarray that this building was in when this young man stepped out on faith and did what he did, holy cow, you got to come. Now, tell me the date that the event is. What is the date that the event is?
It's April
the 20th.
April the 20th.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
We want you to come to Kimsey. Now, what do you call it now?
We call it Kimsey Ridge, just to honor the Dr. Kimsey that started the building. So.
And it is, give folks directions if they're not from around here. Tell them how to get to the school.
If you don't know where it's at, well, it's 2018 Highway 68 in Ducktown. But you basically, you're going in the direction of Turtletown. It's about 2 miles on the right. There's a large sign that says Kimsey Ridge. It's usually lit up, so it's hard to miss if you're looking for it.
Right, and it's on the right. And then there's a little tiny building across the street. Is that little building still there?
It says Kimsey Junior College. I used to tell my kids, look how small that college is.
Yes, I know. I've had people, I brought in a group from Nashville one day, and they came down that road to come to the show. And they said, we passed a college, and I just laughed. I said, I know right where you were.
But when they come up the hill and it opens up, they're like, because it's, you know, that's the old pumping station.
What if somebody wants to be a sponsor and to help you with this event? How do they get in touch with you? Your Facebook page?
I would say the Facebook page, and then, or they can contact Rick about if it's for this particular event. Either way, we can coordinate with each other.
Okay.
It's a blessing anytime somebody wants to help. And if you can't help out financially, I don't ever ask for anything. Just pray for us. But one day the Lord will meet me up with the right person, and we'll accomplish big things.
Well, you're amazing. You're just amazing. and connecting y'all is just another one of God's perfect plans. You know? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And there, when you look at these photos and you see those people who came this year, don't you know that they left with a blessing, and then they went back to their community and they shared the good news of what y'all are doing. So we hope that this year it's maximum capacity, and you just have to have people wallering and trying to figure out how to get a seat. That would be just the most amazing thing.
That's what we're hoping for.
That would be quite the blessing right there.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I hope that on April the 20th, Linda Autry's available to come. I'd love to bring her up there and just let her see this. And it's just, it is amazing what you have accomplished. That is so cool. Now, does your wife still scratch her head and say, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, she's usually pretty quick to tell me that I'm crazy. But the day that I told her, I said, I think the Lord wants me to buy a Ducktown school. She said, well, I don't know how you're going to do that, but if that's what you think, and which is, you know, out of character, you know, we give her a hard time, but she was surprisingly on board with it, because we used to kid around if we ever hit the lottery. We don't play it, but if we ever hit it, we'd buy that school. And when I come and told her that, I can still remember her face. I don't know how you're going to do that, but hey,
go ahead.
That's what it.
I I love it. Well, what if everybody in our communities had the guts you do? Goodness
Yeah, right.
gracious. Goodness gracious. Well, thank you both for being here today. And again, go to the Facebook page if you want to learn more about it. And it's Kimsey Junior
Friends of Kimsey Junior College.
Friends of Kimsey Junior
On
College,
Facebook.
and reach out and number one, send him a message and say, hey, we're happy for what you're doing. Again, please show up on April the 20th at 6 p.m. And is it a love offering or ticket sales?
It's love offering.
Love offering.
And Kimsey Ridge Gospel Sing also has a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's Kimsey Ridge Gospel Sing.
There you go.
Yeah.
So check out that. And actually last year's Sing is on there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you'll get to see what to expect this year. And just getting able to expect the Kaylers is enough reason to be there.
It's a blessing in itself.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It
And
really is.
100% of the offering goes to Jason, every
Mm-hmm.
bit of it. Nobody takes no money out. It goes to Jason for the school.
Right, and as it should, it should. Thank you very much. I love those photos. That's amazing. You've accomplished a lot. You've accomplished a lot. Because in reality, 3 years ago, if you'd had this, you'd have had to do it outside in a tent.
Without a doubt.
Seriously, outside
People
in a tent.
don't believe that, but I say
Yeah.
go back and look at the pictures. We have before and after it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, we're going to leave you with just a little bit of a song by Mr. Ellijay, because if I don't, one of my viewers will find me and hunt me down at Walmart and spank me. So here you go.
I'm looking down from a hilltop at the lights of my hometown. This place is all so different now. They've closed the pool room down. That old wooden bridge I fished from is replaced with man-made stone. The swimming pool in our old school, like you, they both are gone. Looking back on all the summers since 1969, long ago and far away, when I thought you were mine. For better or worse, thick or thin, so much has changed since then. My crazy heart spins round and round when I dream of way back when the rock and roll would play in that old silver Chevrolet. And AM rock was all we knew back then. Big brown eyes and short Levi's, I remember you. But it's all over now, baby blue. He flows so gently from the mountains to the sea. And the track that took my dad to war in 1943 still stretches by the depot like so many years before. But like you, the train's on a different track. It don't come here no more. And the rock and roll would play in that old silver Chevrolet. And AM rock was all we knew back then.
song.